under the pale moonlight. Vinny and Phil bring the shadows to life. Tales of a ghost night. Bigfoot and aliens ready for the strife. The darkness thickens, the air is cold. Haunting stories waiting to unfold. Supernatural Sundays, the veil is thin. Join us in the chaos, let the night begin. With every whisper and each chilling tale, dare to believe where shadows prevail. EVPs echo through the haunted trees. Demons lurk as the chill hits with ease. But the caps rolling with guests to amaze. Cryptids and spirits were lost in the haze. Northmen in the foliage, watch your back. Dogmen prowling, ready to attack. Supernatural Sundays, the veil is thin. Join us in the chaos, let the night begin. With every whisper and each chilling tale, dare to believe where shadows prevail. Moving in the foliage, watch your back. Through the prowling, ready to attack. Supernatural Sundays, the veil is thin. Join us in the chaos, let the night begin. With every whisper and each chilling tale, dare to believe where shadows prevail. So tune in next week, fear in your soul. Darkness awaits, let the stories unfold.
Welcome to Supernatural Sundays, November 2nd, 2025 edition. Hope everybody made it through Halloween okay, survived all the trick-or-treating and the tricking. Everybody getting ready for pumpkin spice and fall weather, cooling off a little bit. Maybe cook up a nice pot of wassail. We survived it. I was going to go do a live tonight, but it's been raining and everything, so we're back in the studio. Got some new friends with us tonight over here. Got some new girls over here. Picked these up a while back. I'm going to use them for trigger objects. They They don't seem too creepy. Not as creepy as the ones I had last week, but I got some equipment set up on them. We'll see if they have any kind of activity going on, any kind of attachments with them. They seem to be behaving over here, so we'll give them a whirl. We got some updates this week on Atlas 3i. It just went behind the sun, and right before it went behind the sun, it supposedly changed colors, kind of like a blue color. Got some updates from the Harvard scientists. Got a few cryptid reports and some paranormal stuff, and then I've got a couple actual some of our evidence as far as photos. Did a little montage of a trip out east we did last month, and got some photos I want to share with everyone. So let's get into the news, and then we'll get into it. As you may or may not know, last month, well, it was right about the first week of October, last week of September, we went out east, went out to Boston and check out some of the historic sites, went over to Salem, and I took a couple pictures and I put them together, and I would call it a montage. And kind of interesting thing, you can take pictures now, and there's like an AI feature, and it kind of adds to your picture. It kind of animates and moves stuff. So I'm going to share that with you here a little bit. This is my montage from our trip out east. We'll play that again. There was we had Paul Revere there, and we had the witch from out in Salem statue, and a couple of statues, and it kind of brought them to life. I'm gonna roll that one more time. I just thought it was so cool. That first one was Sam Adams' grave, and then we had Paul Revere, and they actually made like a Paul Revere jump out of there. That was pretty cool. We've got some pretty cool stuff this week. Hoping we get a caller in here to see if somebody wants to go with cryptids first or some paranormal stuff, and we will get right into the cryptids here. This is pretty interesting week. Got a lot of cryptid stuff this week. This guy, he claims that Dogman gives off some kind of aura, and I don't know if it gives off an aura or not, but see what you guys think of this guy.
If it wasn't for the amount of evil I felt coming off of this thing, it was like it was like an aura that it had of just pure evil. And I've seen bears, I've seen coyotes. Coyotes attacked my dog when we used to walk by the river. I used to have to walk out for coyotes and take a little 22 with me. And, and I've seen wildlife. I know what wildlife is, but this thing was just emanating fear. It had an aura that just like, it hit you like an arrow and just like paralyzed you. That's why I know it wasn't natural,
Wow.
Pretty interesting. He felt some kind of energy hit him. He said it was like an arrow hitting him. We went over to Land Between the Lakes, I think it was about a year ago, and stayed all night out there, and went out to, we bivouacked. We didn't stay in the campground. We went out in the actual remote area, down all the way at the end of a road out there. It's an old, I think it was Cumberland school site where there used to be a school. There's been some folks say they couldn't stay all night out there. Something creeped them out. They'd leave, and a couple people saw a face. Another guy, his camera was acting up around there. There's an old cistern, and I went out kind of traipsing around. I found like an obelisk, which is like a little concrete marker identifying where the school was, and then I found the cistern. I didn't have any problem with my camera, but I did have something weird happen. I got a picture I'm going to throw up here. I had a plasma ball, and plasma ball, if you're not familiar with it, it's like a ball, and it has looks like lightning in there going around, and you can touch it with your hand, and the lightning will go to your fingers and whatnot. So something I've been trying with paranormal investigation, see if anything will come up and touch it when we're not actually touching it. And I had this thing going out there at Land Between the Lakes out there. We were in, Dogman, Bigfoot area. We were several miles southeast of what I would call Energy Lake on the Barkley side. This plasma ball normally looks like lightning going in this ball, and then it all of a sudden, all the plasma swirled into one plasma arc, and it looked like a flame, like a candle. And it did that for quite a while, and then it went out later. I put new batteries in it, fired it back up, and it started doing the same thing. And then it just went back to the regular lightning. But I haven't really seen it do this before. Maybe if anybody else has used plasma balls, tell me if this is normal or if this is something weird. But I'm gonna throw up a picture, see what you guys think. So there's the. It's kind of hard to see the ball, but that's glass around the little base, and that plasma turned into look like a little flame, like a candle. And that was out at Land Between the Lakes out there. That was probably the weirdest thing I had happen all night. We did have a cat ball go off. There was a dog barking out there, which I think it was just a dog. It wasn't any dog man or anything, unless he barks like a dog. I don't. But it was pretty interesting. That was our that was my dog man. Whatever was going on out there. If that's his aura or whatever happened to that other guy, then that's what it did to my plasma. Yeah, let's see. We got another. This was kind of interesting. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a Bigfoot or what encounter, but this is a case of vanishing footprints. Sometimes they'll see footprints like out in the middle of the snow. They just like start halfway across the field and then they just disappear. Like, okay, can Bigfoot fly? Did he land? Is he walking? Did it take him back off? Did something drop him off, pick him back up? Did he cloak? Some people think they can cloak in and out, interdimensional type creature or whatever, but here's a case of the vanishing footprints.
What if there are places on Earth where reality breaks down? Tonight, we expose the vanishing footprints of Silent Tundra, a mystery so disturbing, even experts refuse to explain it. Pay close attention, you'll question everything. Siberian Tundra, 2017. Dr. Lena Morozov, a wildlife biologist, was tracking caribou migrations when the impossible appeared. It started routine, a crisp dawn, frost biting the air, until reality shattered. A sound like snow cracking under immense weight echoed from the white expanse. Within moments, Lena's GPS failed and her breath fogged in a sudden, unnatural chill. The air pulsed as if something colossal passed nearby. "I never believed in legends until that morning," Lena whispers. Others described a metallic tang and footprints, huge, deep, and impossibly spaced, leading nowhere. Officials blamed shifting ice, yet the evidence screamed otherwise. The prints vanished mid-stride, cleanly cut as if erased by an invisible hand. Years later, researcher Pavel Ivanov mapped a chilling pattern. Every decade, witnesses disappeared the night after footprints appeared. Still, locals report midnight thuds echoing over the tundra. So I ask you, what are they hiding? Hit like if you'd go there alone. Tell me what you think really happened.
I don't have a warm enough coat to go there. Out there in the Arctic. That's pretty wild. Pictures show up, or the footprints show up about every 10 years. People go missing. I'm not sure what would cause that. That's pretty wild. I've got another Bigfoot video. This is talking about somewhere cold and up north. This would be over there in Russia. It's pretty cold out there in Siberia. And this is footage of a Russian Bigfoot. I know Dr. Meldrum went over there at one point and studied with the Russian scientists. And one thing he said is our North American Bigfoot footprints have what they call the metatarsal break. And the Russian ones do too. That was one thing they had in common. I've got a footprint, but I don't know if it shows the metatarsal break. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Yeah. Give you an idea. These things are pretty big. The footprints are pretty dang big. And I don't know if this is what they're calling the mid-tarsal break here, or this is a cast I got from I got this from Thomas Shea up by I think this was up by Carrollton, Kentucky. Thomas Shea. Thing's pretty damn big, but the one thing that the Russian Bigfoots and our Bigfoots all have in common, they've got that mid-tarsal break in them that our feet don't have those. So anyway, I'm hoping to see him here later this month and see if he's got any more cool footprints. But I did not cast this. I would have liked to have cast one. I do have a picture I'm going to show you here and see what you think of the footprints that we found. I'm going to play the Russian video, and then I'm going to show you something me and Jeff found. And I went back to cast it, and we couldn't find it. And there was like a stick stuck in the ground where the area we were in that wasn't there the day before. So I don't know if somebody was playing around or what, but we did smell something out there. Smelled like something was dead, like a dead deer or something. But every time we got close to it, we thought we were smelling something. And usually, if it's a dead animal, it'll be there. You'll walk up and find it and smell it. The smell came and went. And then the last time we smelled it, then it left, and that was it. It was weird. The wind wasn't blowing, and it was really weird. But anyway, I thought I'd share this with you. This is a Bigfoot footprint from Kentucky, from the Carrollton area. We don't just SIS. We don't just study ghosts. We'll go check out any kind of supernatural phenomenon, Bigfoots, aliens, Dogman, anything, cryptids, any kind of unusual stuff. You girls doing all right over there? Okay, so we check on you. All right, let's play the Russian video. I don't know. I'm thinking that was pretty legit. It was blurry. Most legit videos of Bigfoot, they say he's naturally blurry. I'm going to show you this was in Mammoth Cave, and we were up near the Cedar Sink area is where we were when we found this. We were out mushroom hunting, looking for some morels. It was right after we had real bad floods this spring up there, so maybe the morels got washed out, but we would have thought, a footprint like this would have got washed out, but this happened probably a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks after the flooding, so kind of a sandy area, but it was pretty interesting. And there's we got Jeff Shoe in here for scale. I think he wears like a 10 or 11, something like that, and then so I'm going to show you a couple pictures of this footprint. And if I can make it any bigger. But it was kind of weird. Like it had almost like a toe, like toes on the side, and then it kind of dug in here. So we don't know if it was like stepping and turning or what was going on. But it was that was the footprint. And then here's Here's a picture with Jeff's shoe next to it. You can kind of get a little better scale of it. It's like his shoes there on the left, and then there's the whole print. And I kind of looked down, I thought, oh, that's somebody's boot. You know, I thought it was a boot. And then the more I looked at it, it looked kind of like toes over here on the side. And it just didn't look like a normal boot print to me. And so I decided the next day I'd go back with some plaster. So I was traipsing around the woods with a gallon of water and a couple pounds. I don't know how many. I think I had about 6 pounds of plaster. And walked around. And I was out there for 2 hours. And got back to this general area, could not find it. And there was like a stick stuck in the ground, like somebody stuck it there on purpose, like pretty near the spot. And I'm like, well, somebody messing with us, you know? Is that something Bigfoot would do? Has anybody ever had experience where they found a print and then came back and there was like a stick stuck in the ground? Or I don't know. It could be people messing around, but I can't explain the weird smells we had out there. But I got a little app on my phone it's got like LiDAR, and it's for like measuring, like when you're building something, it'll measure like walls and measure stuff. So I put that app on there, and I tried to get a mark where the heel and the toe of it was, and it's basically looked like it's showing about 18.5 inches. And it was probably 4 or 5 inches deep, but the heel and the toe was probably 8 inches deep. But this was, I got pictures of it and everything. Then the more I thought about it, I'm like, I'm going to go back and cast that thing, see what it, and that's when we found out we couldn't find it. So anyway, thought I'd share that with you guys. We are thinking about going back to Land Between the Lakes here probably this month before it gets too cold. And I've got, okay, here's another pretty good Bigfoot video. This one was captured on a trail cam. They get some really cool stuff on trail cams sometimes. See what you guys think of this. If you think it's a Bigfoot or think it's fake.
These sightings, the backstory remains largely under wraps, but it's believed to have been taken by a trail camera. Looks like today's video is full of trail camera evidence. But there's one specific detail that's convinced some investigators this photo might actually be genuine. Rocky Mountain Sasquatch points it out, stating, quote, "Why do Sasquatch lift their heels higher than humans when walking? Perhaps it's an adaptation, allowing them to clear obstacles by pushing brush inward and reducing the chance of tripping. It might also help with efficient movement through deep snow." End quote. Aside from that, the creature's other features are hard to ignore. I mean, just look at the size of its upper body. It's massive, an absolute beast. I've always thought it would be amazing to encounter Bigfoot out in the woods. But if I came face to face with this thing, I'd be sprinting in the opposite direction. Definitely one I wouldn't want to meet. An intriguing photo, to say the least. Speaking of Bigfoot trail camera footage, here's another one to add to the mix. People are always saying they want up-close evidence of Bigfoot, and, well, it looks like they got exactly that with this clip. Maybe a little too up close. Whatever this was, it came right up to the camera, so close that it actually blocks most of the view, making it hard to get a clear look. Still, many researchers are convinced that what was captured here really is a Bigfoot, caught on that trail camera that day. In the footage, we can see long, wiry brown hair and the lower part of 2 large, sturdy legs. Whatever it is, it definitely appears to be bipedal. Judging by the movement, it looks like something walks past and almost kicks the low-hanging trail camera. The device was clearly set very low, possibly even right on the ground. Of course, there isn't enough solid evidence to say this is 100% a Bigfoot, so the clip remains open for debate. Could it simply be an illusion? Maybe a known animal like a bear? That's certainly possible. It could very well be a brown bear. But many cryptid enthusiasts aren't buying that explanation. They argue the creature's hair looks far too long, and it's shaped too distinctly Bigfoot-like to match any typical bear. Honestly, I'm pretty torn on this one, and so are plenty of others. It's been circulating across social media recently, so I wanted to share it with you all and hear your thoughts. Bear, Bigfoot, or something else entirely? Let's keep the discussion going in the comments below. The following recording from the trail camera was made in a wooded area of Michigan, near the city of Dearborn. A local hunter, as usual, was recording animals in a permitted area, while watching the recordings hoping to see various animals. He saw this. In the presented frames, we see a night shot from the forest. The object appears in 3 consecutive photographs, which in itself deserves attention. This eliminates the possibility of a simple glare or camera artifact. We see something massive, dark, moving from left to right between the trees. In the first pictures, the figure appears to be slightly tilted forward, as if it is in motion. The outlines are blurred, but you can see the broad shoulders and narrowing to the waist, which is more like the silhouette of a humanoid creature than an animal. At the same time, the object looks much larger than an ordinary person in dark clothes. In relation to the trees, the height exceeds the average height. In the following frames, the figure has shifted closer to the center and looks more massive. Here we see a clearer silhouette of the back and head, which seems disproportionately large. It is important to note that these images retain the same density and texture of the dark cover.
Man, I don't know what that was. That thing was hauling ass, whatever it was. It was almost a blur. It was so fast. We've been out on investigations and we've seen like something out of the corner of our eye moving real fast like that, but you couldn't never tell what it was. I mean, that could have even been something like a shadow creature, spirit, something, you know? But it didn't look like a person to me. A person can't run that fast, and the proportions were way different. Thought you guys would enjoy that. We're gonna go with the same theme. Got another. This guy. This is Mount Baldy. Is where they had this Sasquatch encounter up at Mount Baldy.
Back in September of this year, a former LAPD officer encountered a Sasquatch howl right out here at this very location. He describes the howl coming from what seemed to be the end of Mount Baldy Road, which is precisely where we're at right now. Now, this was back in September, and he did get an audio recording of the howl. However, so far, it has not been released to the public, assuming it's in the possession of either him or the BFRO, who are the main agency investigating this. And they did come out and could confirm that the witness was a former LAPD officer. And also, after hearing the recording, the investigator who came out and investigated this specific incident heard the audio recording and determined that it is most definitively a Sasquatch howl. Today, I'm going to try and maybe find a trail out here to get out into the wilderness, then get off said trail and maybe see what we can find in the woods out here, see if there's any structures or anything like that. But this is the Baldy area, you guys. This is crazy area. Steep canyons, steep cliffs. All the trails are like 2,000, 4,000 foot elevation gains. So it is not an easy area to get out into, which makes me think it is a great area for a Sasquatch to hide. Here we are today, guys. We're going to get out here in it and see what we can find. Squatch on.
Squatch on, brother. And that was out in California. They've had a lot of sightings especially the northern part of California and up into Washington State. That was old Mount Baldy. I was hoping for some footage, but he was just reporting on what the sheriff had heard up there. Trying to see if I got another cryptid. Okay, this was a cryptid, and we're not sure if this was an actual creature that she saw. It's a native woman saw it, and she's got a lot of other spiritual videos she puts out, native cultural videos, which I really like. I've watched a lot of her content, but this is the first time I've seen anything where she saw anything supernatural. But it almost sounds like a shadow like a shadow creature or, something like that. Maybe a skinwalker, some kind of, spiritual creature, shadow creature. But let's check her out. It's pretty cool.
There are such things on this earth known as otherworldly beings. Us native people have always been telling these stories, but it's a whole different feeling when you see it for yourself and you experience it for yourself, and you know you're never again to be the same because of what you saw. Anyway, this was about 6 or 7 years ago, back in Northern California, and I had just finished dancing at a ceremony out there. So there was no drugs, no alcohol involved, and it was after one of our traditional sacred ceremonies. I had parked way out in the field because that's where I was going to sleep for the night. Sometimes I like being off by myself. And I was changing out of my traditional regalia, or what I wore to the ceremony to dance in. I put my son in the car, he was sleeping, and I got this really weird, heavy feeling. And I looked up, and about maybe 20 feet standing away from me was a shadowy being. And it stood about maybe this tall to me. And I knew right away that it was something that I'd never seen before. It wasn't animal, it wasn't human, it was something that wasn't of this world. And it scared me so bad. Like the way that lady is in that video, I was feeling the same, except I wasn't saying anything. I was frozen. And I had a friend with me. He's from Pine Ridge, Oglala Lakota Sioux Nation. And he came up from over the hill and he saw me standing there looking at that being. And when he saw it, he goes, hey, and he takes off, starts yelling at it, and that thing starts running. But it didn't run like an animal, didn't run like any human that I've ever seen. In fact, the closest thing that I've ever come to describe it is recently I saw a video of a bat running. And if you look that up, that's what that looked like. It was just, as if it had wings, but that thing didn't have wings. And it was taking off like that, just totally unnatural, weird, abnormal, you name it. And he chased it off into the woods like that. When he came back, he told me that that was what our people call a wiwila, one of the little people. The story is that these creatures come from another planet. Their planet was burnt out by their sun hundreds, thousands of years ago, and they came to our planet to share space. So they come out at night, we come out at day. Usually we don't meet, but sometimes we do in situations like that. And the reason he chased it off is because sometimes they take us, and we have to be careful. Don't get me started on Bigfoot or Sasquatch now. These things are real.
I really want to see some of her content on Bigfoot and Sasquatch. So she thinks she saw a Wiwila. I don't want to mess with nothing like that. It came from another planet. She's thinking that it was an alien that came here to get away from its after its sun burned out. That's pretty wild. The Wiwila. Talking about getting the creeps. Here's one from Tucker Carlson, and pretty interesting. I think he was out bird hunting or something, and well, I'm gonna roll it. You can see what happened to Tucker.
There's some spooky shit in the woods here. There's a section, I mean, not even a mile from right where we're sitting here, that I grouse hunt. Every time I hunt there, I get, whoa, these weird feelings. Like, yeah, I want to get the hell out of here. That stretch of river has been considered haunted. Really? Yes. Any honest person who spent time in the Maine woods at night will tell you there's something up there. And there are tons of accounts of it. Yeah. From the early white settlers here, from the Passamaquoddy, the Native American. Yeah, exactly. I guess in general, I feel like the separation, the veil, the membrane between this world and the spiritual world is thinner in the woods. I agree. You walk into a clearing, the sun's coming down through the trees, and you're like, oh, God created this. Thank you, God. And then there are other moments where you just feel deep, terrifying menace. Man, I was midway down this path on my property that we've had for many years. I know every inch of it. All of a sudden, I had this feeling like, oh my gosh, pure terror. It came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was going to freak out. I had to get a hold of myself. Yeah. What is that?
Sounds like something triggered his primal fear response. Pretty wild. Talking about scary stuff, I'm going to show you a picture of it's probably the scariest thing that I've ever ran into out doing any kind of paranormal investigation, supernatural. Probably the scariest thing we've ever ran across. Copperhead snake. We were up in Mammoth Cave up by the Joppa Church, and he was climbing up the tree in the cemetery there at the graveyard, and he was eating cicada bugs, and so we just kind of gave him a wide berth, and let him be, and we didn't want to have no part of that. But that's probably the scariest thing I've ever ran into out there. Poisonous snake, not something I want to mess with. There's a rumor that you get a bunch of copperhead snakes together, and they're supposed to smell like a melon, like a cucumber smell. And me and Gary were up in Ohio earlier this year at the Gretchen Fest up there, and out at the Gretchen's Lock, and we're going down this trail of a night to go check out the lock, and had this overpowering smell of like melon, almost like a cantaloupe, kind of like a cucumber smell. And Gary's like, well, we looking for copperheads, and I've actually talked to some snake experts since that encounter, and they're like, they raise snakes, and they're like, no, they don't have any, copperheads don't have any smell. And they've heard that too, that, that rumor, they think it's a rumor. And I don't know what we were smelling. I mean, if I ever go back up there, I'm going to be looking for some wild melons growing out there, because it was really strong smell in the same spot. We walked back on the way back in the same exact spot we smelled it. So if you're ever out in the woods and you smell melons, we were watching for snakes anyway, but I don't know if it's an old wives' tale or what, but just want to let you know, I think it's about time for a little more cowbell.
I could have used a little more cowbell.
What do you think, girls? Did you enjoy the cowbell? Sometimes you just gotta have a little more cowbell. We got our device, the Paramoo. We take it out. It's got the cowbells on it. And we're thinking of something that has enough energy to ring the cowbell that it's going to be pretty intense. We got a lot of little gadgets and stuff we make that are not electronic at all. I could show somebody how to make them if they want. Pretty simple devices that only a spirit or an earthquake would be able to move them. I think we're going to move on from the cryptids. It's probably time for an Atlas 3i update. I got one here. I got to find it. I actually have two. If I can find the second one. This one's pretty interesting. This comes from an actual guy. I think he's retired from NASA, but it's a pretty good, actually a pretty good article. Here we go.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gregory Rogers. I used to be a flight surgeon for the United States Air Force and for NASA, Chief of Aerospace Medicine at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. One thing that I would like to address right now is that there are so many stories and competing stories about what all is going on with 3i Atlas. So I want to add my 2 bits to it. I don't want to focus on all of the different strange anomalous things that so many other people have brought up, especially Dr. Avi Loeb, but I want to discuss just the chemistry. When I worked with the space program, I knew about the chemistry of the space shuttle, the deep space satellites we were sending out, the Hubble Space Telescope, even the chemistry of Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 are well known. One of the characteristics of our spacecraft is that they have nickel alloys that they are made of. And the reason we chose to make these alloys useful for our spacecraft is because they are so adaptable to the space environment. Iron, on the other hand, is not. So we don't put iron into any of our spacecraft. Well, when we study the chemistry of 3i Atlas, one of the things that we see is that there's no iron there appreciably. But there are nickel alloys that are very similar to the nickel alloys that we use in our spacecraft. When the universe creates iron, it also creates nickel. And when it creates nickel, it creates iron. And so they are always found together. If you look in any asteroids, comets, interplanetary devices, or even the planets themselves, you're always going to see iron and nickel at the same time. We as humans have to go through a strong manufacturing process to separate the nickel from the iron. And then once we have the nickel separated, we can use special processes to create the nickel alloys that we use in our spacecraft. Well, when we study the 3I Atlas, we're seeing the same kind of nickel alloys that our spacecraft would give off if they were entering the solar system of some distant star and an intelligent life form there was monitoring our spacecraft. They would see the same kind of nickel alloys being given off by our Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecraft. So when we see these kinds of things and people continue to say, oh, it's just a comet, it's a natural comet, except that it's not doing natural things. When we look at the chemistry alone, this is a very troublesome aspect of what we see. If these are nickel alloys being used for 3I Atlas for the same reasons that we would use it for our satellites and space probes, then that means somebody manufactured it, because iron should be there and it's not. Nickel alloys should not be there, but they are. So I want to point this out specifically because I find it as a very important finding. And so as a member of the International UFO Bureau, I wanted to put this information out. Thank you very much.
Pretty interesting. A lot of your meteors, when they land here on Earth, there's different ones. There's chondrites and anchondrites. There's stony ones, and there's the nickel iron ones. So what he's saying basically, even in space, when a comet or an asteroid or whatever is an iron type rock, basically it'd be iron and nickel are usually found together in nature. So for this thing to just be giving off a nickel alloy, that's something that was manufactured by a intelligence. It's not something that you would typically find in nature. It had to be made by intelligent means. There's a lot of processes to make an alloy. Now, me and my buddy Big Paul from over in Pekin, shout out to Big Paul. We went out to the desert a couple times hunting for meteors or meteorites, and there's an area south of Hoover Dam out there in the Arizona side, the desert. It's called Gold Basin, and it was originally an area where you would go. They would mine gold out of the foothills and whatnot, and so we were out there with metal detectors, and the nickel iron meteorites, you could pick them up with a metal detector. And the other thing is, if they got enough iron in them, they're almost like magnetic, like a magnetite. They'll stick to your pickaxe. You get them there and they'll stick to it like a magnet. Also, we would usually put a heavy rare earth magnet on our pickaxe to help get them to stick to it. And it also helps you when you're digging, if you find something made out of iron or whatever. Got a good friend of mine from Oklahoma, Quilla. If you're watching out there, shout out to Quilla. We first met Quilla and her husband Gary out there in the desert. He had a huge metal detector. This thing, the surge coil was probably 16 inches diameter. It looked like something that the military would use to look for landmines. And he's out there. She's got a little tiny one, and you would have to get, like, I'd say, a good 500 yards away from him but that thing was so powerful, all of our metal detectors were picking it up. The signals it was sending out, you could pick it up like over a hill. You couldn't even see him, and it was picking up his signal. It would mess with your metal detector. So anyway, we were out there looking for these meteorites. Unfortunately, we didn't find any. If you ever go meteorite hunting, there's a lot of things. A couple of little things. I'll give you some tips. One, make sure you have a good maps, topographical maps. Don't necessarily rely on GPS and phones, because if you lose battery, lose signal, how you gonna find your way back? So topographical maps. Make sure you take extra water. Take a couple extra gallons of water with you. Even we like to go in the spring around February, March, January, because it's mild out in the desert, like in the 60s, and the snakes and the scorpions are hibernating. So we don't like messing with snakes or scorpions. So, but our friend Quilla, she found a gold nugget. This thing's the size of a baked potato, and it was quartz, and it looked like a potato, and the gold was in it. Looked like almost like wire wrapped in it. So that's what we were looking for, meteorites. Then we found out you can find gold out there too. But she found a really nice one, and the actual specimen nuggets, if you ever go out hunting for them, if you're out there looking for UFOs and aliens, you might as well do some metal detecting too, because there's no telling what you'll find out there. Another area to go is down by Lake Havasu. It's called Franconia Wash. We go down to the Franconia Wash area and looking for gold, looking mainly for gold down there. But we did get into General Patton, had a desert training ground down there. And you get around like big chunks of quartz, kind of like this here. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll hold it up. It's pretty dang heavy. I got a big chunk of quartz here, and that's the kind of stuff you find out in Arizona. Anyway, we'd find bullets in the quartz. I guess it was fun to shoot at it. You know, they're out training their desert training, you know, the troops with their tanks and guns and everything. And we'd find, you know, big bullet, like 50 caliber links, and, you know, after they shoot the bullet, all the casings and stuff, we'd find those out with a metal detector. Walked up through a wash, found a big hole. The guy was there a day before us, found I think it was 8.5 ounce nugget. At the time, this was probably back in the 90s, that was about an $8,000 gold nugget. Specimen gold is worth more than regular gold. If you can find a piece that's still in the quartz, still intact, find a nice big nugget, specimen gold if you can find it. But you got to find a collector who's wanting to buy it. If you just find gold dust, little picker nuggets, that kind of stuff, you can take that anywhere, melt it down. It does burn green. If you ever melted gold, it's pretty cool. It has a green flame. And anyway, you take that to your jeweler, gold buyer, whatever. But a specimen nugget, if you find one of those, you want to hold on to it and try to find a collector, and the value will just go up in it. Regular gold goes off spot price. Gold, I'm not sure about how the nuggets are, specimen nuggets are priced, but sometimes you could find one where the miner saved it, and they'll sell them, and they'll have a little tag on them. They call them the miner's tag. It'll actually be from that location where they dug it, and which is pretty cool. And you can actually take some of those nuggets and cut them, slice them, make jewelry. People wear them around. I don't know if it brings off any kind of energy or metaphysical, but they're pretty cool. But anyway, we were out there. We didn't see any UFOs, but we did have a pretty good time out there looking for the meteorites. I did end up picking up a couple meteorites from there's a Desert Outfitters in Las Vegas. I don't know if they're still around, but they had some specimens there that they had found, and you could purchase those and, you know, add them to your collection. I ended up getting a couple little ones because I didn't want to go home completely skunked. But yeah, there's some areas out there where you can find all kind of weird stuff. Shoe tacks, really old, like tin cans and stuff from 100 years ago. But anyway, get off on a little tangent there. But I got another Atlas 3i update. This is from Ivy Loeb. He's been the leading expert on this 3i Atlas encounter. It's right now went behind the sun, so we're not going to be able to see it till probably late November, right after Thanksgiving, early December is when it'll pop out the backside of the sun if everything goes as it normally would with a comet. It's kind of interesting. The last guy there, the flight surgeon, I'm not sure how a flight surgeon is tied in with everything, but he knows about alloys, so that's pretty interesting. So let's bring up the Avi Loeb update. He's from Harvard.
What's NASA potentially hiding about 3i Atlas?
Well, on October 2nd, the 3i Atlas came closest to Mars, within 30 million kilometers. And the high-res camera on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter took several images of it. These are the highest resolution images we have. 3 times better in spatial resolution, about 30 kilometers per pixel, compared to the previous best image, which was the Hubble Space Telescope image. And that was a day after the government shutdown took over NASA, and we haven't gotten the data. And my point is that the politics of the day should not sabotage science. They have the data. They should share it with scientists. They can wait with any press release. But for the scientists to analyze the data, that would serve an important purpose of helping us design the future observations of this object. I should also say that the news yesterday was that this object came closest to the sun. And it received a huge amount of heat from the sun. And the latest report indicates that it became extremely bright, much more than expected for familiar comets.
What does that tell you?
Well, that is not the most unusual fact. It actually is bluer than the sun. And a blue color usually indicates very high temperatures if the light is emitted by some hot surface. But the sun is 5,800 degrees Kelvin above absolute zero, and it's very difficult to keep a surface hotter than that. In fact, an object at the distance of 3i Atlas from the sun could only be 20 times cooler than the sun, so it should be redder. And any dust.
But so what does that mean, Avi? What does that mean if it's hotter than the sun?
We have another anomaly. The object is bluer than the sun, which we don't fully understand. And as of a few hours ago, the first hint for a non-gravitational acceleration, meaning something is affecting its trajectory beyond gravity, was indicated. And so what I'm telling you is that there are new facts about this object that make it even more interesting than it was before. You know, before we knew it moves in the plane of the planets with a very small likelihood. Then we realized that it's very massive, about 1 million times more massive than the first interstellar object, Oumuamua. And then there was nickel with very little iron detected around it, the way we find in industrial production of nickel alloys. And then there was a jet from it towards the sun that was also anomalous. And then there was polarization from it that was never seen before for comets. So there are all these indications.
Bottom line, there's a lot that is making you continue to be very intrigued, a lot about this thing that makes it look like it might be something not quite natural, but we don't know yet. Avi Loeb, come back once we get that NASA image. And also, I'd love to hear more from you about why you think maybe we all originated on Mars, but we'll leave that to another night. Avi Loeb, great to have you on.
That was pretty interesting. He's saying the same thing, that it's a nickel alloy coming off of that thing. It's not seeing iron. So I'm here to tell you, if you want to go out and find your very own meteorite, you can go out and do that with a metal detector, but it's going to have iron in it. It'll have nickel and iron. If you ever get a chance to go to the Field Museum in Chicago, it's on the west end of the museum, second floor up, all the way on the west upper floor. They've got a really awesome meteorite exhibit. There's actually one that I think it was Litchfield, Illinois. It went through a Model T. It went through the seat, through the floor of the car and everything. They've got the car there and the hole in the seat and the meteor or meteorite. And it's pretty cool. Meteor comes in as a rock, it hits our atmosphere and it breaks up, burns up That's what you see your shooting stars, your meteor showers, that kind of stuff. If it's big enough and there's still an intact piece when it hits the ground, that's your meteorite. And you'll find it right there. There's actually some really old meteorites they found out in some cornfields and whatnot. Instead of a regular handheld metal detector, they have a giant metal detector. It looks like a tarp, and they tow it behind like an ATV or a tractor or whatever. And it's got like a giant metal detector coil inside of it, and they drag it, and they can see down like 15, 20 foot deep. And they found some giant meteorites with that thing. Those bring big money. If you can, you find one the size of a basketball, that's going to be some, $100,000 up plus, one half that size is probably going for 50 grand. I don't know what they go for now, but if you want to go out and find your own very own little chunk of a meteorite, you can do that. I was talking about the Lemon Comet last week, and I've been studying it. I've been tracking it. I've been going out, and I finally got a picture of the dang thing. And I'm going to try to get some better pictures this week if it ever quit raining and clear up. But this is with the iPhone 15 Pro Max low light setting, and I've got a star chart app on the phone, and it'll show you about where to look. I was looking in the wrong spot, but it's moving a little bit every day. So this is a picture, and this is looking out over my neighbor's house. And it's kind of hard to see it from this view, but it's right in this area right here. You can kind of see it there. And it's supposed to be kind of green looking, but I'm going to have to try to get out there with a telescope or something, get a better picture. But I'm not going to leave you hanging with just that picture because it kind of sucks. You can't really see it. So I'm not going to leave you with a sucky picture. So here's my enhanced picture. There you go. So I was pretty excited when I got this. It's not as spectacular as the comet I saw last year, but I finally got a picture of the thing. You can see the tail and the head of it. I'm going to try to get out a little bit later when it's darker and get to a different area because I'm still getting a little noise, light pollution from the city of Bowling Green there. I'm kind of on the southeast side of Bowling Green, so I've got the interstate traffic there to the west and part of the town. So this week I may try to go out into a darker area and try to maybe rig up a telescope or something and see if we can get a better picture. But I want to share that with everybody. You can go out right now till probably toward the end of November. I think around the 21st is when it's supposed to not be visible. But I just want to share that with everybody. If you go out of an evening right now, right after dark, look up toward the southwest. And if you see the Big Dipper, it's to the left and down from the Big Dipper. I was looking like right at the Big Dipper before, and that's why I couldn't find it. Highly recommend getting one of those apps. Let me pull this thing up here. I'll tell you what the app I'm using is. I think it's called Star Walk. And there's one called Sky Live, and there's Star Walk. Oh, it's Star Walk 2. And then there's Sky Tonight. Sky Tonight will show you the constellations. Star Walk 2 shows the comet. And there's another really good app called Heavens Above, but it shows all the satellites and everything, but it's not free. And I didn't want to pay $5 or whatever for something I'm not going to use every day, but if more celestial objects start coming through, then I might go ahead and pay the $5. But you can do that Star Walk 2 for free. It'll show you right where the comet is and right where to take your picture. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Anytime I can do something and you guys can go out and do it too, I want to share that with you. I think this may have a 3-Eye Atlas tie-in. It's another psychic giving her weigh in on the 3-Eye Atlas.
I'm a psychic clairvoyant. I'm an ET contactee, and I had these gifts develop in me through my contact experiences, which started in 2020. I was a normal ass person. I was a normal person. I was actually a nutritionist, but I was also shooting space photography. And while I was out doing that, I started being visited by UFOs. So that was my big awakening, just to kind of give a little bit of background. This relationship developed, and then I started activating extrasensory perception. I also talked to angels and other things like that I started having experiences with after the ET contact. And I also dabble into like looking into like the Akashic records or remote viewing or clairvoyantly tapping into certain things to see what's really going on behind the scenes there. I tuned into 3i Atlas and I was very surprised at what came up. What came up was it was actually a massive operation, and it's a real thing. It is alien technology. It is a very ancient ship. Part of what this ship is doing, it's kind of gauging the consciousness and frequency. Besides that, it is a conduit for frequency, and it's actually bringing energy in. It's like a tuning fork for our solar system. So it's interacting with our sun, and science has proven that. You can look that up. They already know this. And the sun is a big part of our ascension. It's light. It is source, right? And that's what helps activate us, our DNA, our third eye, is the sun and these solar energies. So they're interacting together, and it's helping to kind of lift the veil and lift the frequency of humanity.
I don't know about that whole third eye thing. I've talked to some folks that are sensitives, and they talk about their third eye. I think our dollar bill has a third eye on the top of that pyramid. I've had other people talk about the third eye and how you can open it up. But it sounded like a pretty interesting lady. Was out doing some star, kind of like me, out looking at the comet, and then she had an encounter. And after that, I think some gifts got turned on. So I don't know. I've seen some weird stuff out, stargazing, but I've never had an encounter or anything. So, but if we did, I'd just, I'd want to sit down and have a coffee with them. And I hear that aliens right now are they're offering a survey after every probing. How did you enjoy that probing from a scale of 1 to 10? Well, that's enough of that silliness from the aliens. Let's go into some paranormal. This place is pretty popular down in St. Louis. These guys started out with a brewery, the Limp Brewery and the Limp Mansion. And this place has had all kind of paranormal stories about the mansion, and there's been some tragedy, suicides with this family. It's almost like they're cursed, but kind of interesting little video I saw on the Limps.
Some places just feel wrong. And if there's one place in America that holds more tragedy and restless spirits than most, it's the Limp Mansion in St. Louis, Missouri. This isn't just some old house with a ghost story. It's a place where a family's immense success crumbled into a dynasty of death. And believe me, they never really left. The story starts with the Lemp family, beer barons who built a massive empire. They had it all: wealth, power, a grand mansion. But then tragedy struck. One by one, members of the family took their own lives, many of them right inside this very house. And with each death, the mansion seemed to absorb the sorrow, the despair, and the paranormal activity cranked up to a whole new level. Today it's considered one of the most haunted places in the country, and there are 3 specific spots that will make your blood run cold. Let's start at the top, the attic. This was the secluded space of William Lemp Jr.'s illegitimate son, a boy with developmental disabilities who was hidden away from the public eye. They called him the monkey-faced boy. People who visit the attic today report the most unsettling feelings. They hear the sounds of a small child running, little footsteps pattering across the floorboards when no one is there. Toys that are left out are found moved, sometimes thrown across the room. People have even captured EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, of a child's voice whispering. Even from outside, people have seen the face of a boy. It's a profoundly sad energy, the ghost of a boy who was a secret in life, still making his presence known in death. One of the most unsettling areas of the Lemp Mansion, the downstairs women's restroom. Now I know what you're thinking, a haunted bathroom, but stick with me. Countless women have reported the same terrifying experience. They'll be in a stall, minding their own business, when they get that prickly feeling on the back of their neck. They look up, and for a split second, they see the face of a man peeking over the top of the stall door. Just a quick glance, and then he's gone. This peeping ghost is widely believed to be William Lemp Jr. He was a known womanizer and playboy in his day, and it seems his inappropriate habits have followed him into the afterlife. But people in that same bathroom often hear the sound of running water from the sinks clear as day. They'll step out of the stall to check, thinking someone else came in, only to find the room completely empty and the faucets bone dry. The sound just vanishes into thin air. It's as if a spirit is going about its routine, completely unaware that it's sharing the space with the living. But if you're brave enough to go all the way down, past the main floors, you'll find the basement. And this is where things get truly terrifying. The Lemp Brewery was connected to the mansion by a network of underground tunnels, or lagering cellars, that ran beneath the streets of St. Louis. These caves are dark, damp, and labyrinthine. Today, the entrance in the mansion's basement is known by another name, the Gates of Hell. There are said to be 1 or 2 unhappy entities that haunt this area. The energy down here is aggressive, oppressive. People feel like they're being watched by something inhuman. They've been touched, scratched, and shoved by unseen forces. The air is thick with a sense of dread, and many paranormal investigators refuse to go down there alone. So from the tragic hidden child in the attic, to the peeping ghost in the bathroom, and the dark entities in the basement, the Lemp Mansion isn't just haunted by a family's ghosts. It's a place where layers of history, sorrow, and something much, much darker all bleed together. It's no wonder it's called one of the most haunted places in America. The question is, would you dare to spend a night?
Sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, ladies, you might not want to use that restroom. Have the peeking ghost there. Yeah, the Lemp Brewery, I've read a lot of stories about it, so that'd be cool to see what kind of investigation you could do down there. Got another, I'm not sure if you would classify this as a cryptid or more of a, like a spiritual, maybe it could even be classified as a witch. We just did get, make it through Halloween here, so she could be kind of a witch type entity. So let's have a look at Tall Betsy. From what I hear, she's really tall.
In Bradley County, Tennessee, there's a legend that only walks on one night of the year, Halloween. They call her Tall Betsy, the Goblin of Cleveland. Back in the early 1900s, parents in Bradley County used the name Tall Betsy to keep their kids in line. They'd whisper, "You'd better be home before dark, or Tall Betsy will get you." They said she was tall as a lamppost, dressed in black, and loved the taste of disobedient children. Every year on Halloween night, folks swore she'd walk the streets of Cleveland, especially near Centenary Avenue. Children would see a shadow stretch across the road, too tall, too thin, moving too fast, and swear it was her. The story grew so strong that by the 1980s, local businessman Alan Jones revived her as a Halloween icon. And something strange happened. People started reporting sightings again. A dark figure walking near the old courthouse. Long arms, red eyes, and the smell of peppermint, her favorite candy. In Cleveland, Tennessee, they still celebrate her every October 31st. Kids dress up like Tall Betsy, but the older folks say the real one still comes out that night, blending in with the crowd. So if you're out trick-or-treating in Bradley County and a tall woman in black stops to say hello, look closely before you answer.
Watch out for Tall Betsy down there in Cleveland, Tennessee. Come on. Don't want to mess with her. This sounds like a bad night. I think the parents made it up so the kids won't be doing too many tricking on trick-or-treat night. They'll just be getting their treats. This one is an apparition video.
going on, paraphernalia? So, I hit you with a very serious tone. Strange, because you're not used to it. But this piece of evidence is one of the coolest, and if not, the best apparition videos I have ever seen. I have no explanation for it. So, this apparition that they captured is absolutely amazing. They go back and they try their hardest to debunk it and figure out what it was. They're at a cemetery. Now, if this was a person in the background where they captured this apparition, you would think that they would know that a person was there and they would hear it.
Okay.
Okay, because you could hear rustling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it's not that far where you wouldn't be able to hear a person if they were sneaking around. But it doesn't look like a person. It looks like it has like a humanoid figure, but it doesn't look like a person because it's almost translucent. I have no idea why this video hasn't gone viral. It is that good.
Damn, dude.
This video is It
better not be a letdown. It better not be a letdown.
You're gonna be absolutely shocked. I can't believe that it hasn't got more views. That's why when he sent it to me, I was like, we have to cover this video because it's that good.
Dang. Okay. Well, let's do it.
All right. I'm gonna read this as fast as I can. Here's the first sighting of the apparition, zoomed in and slowed down. Notice how there's no detail to the figure. It is just a white translucent form of a person that seems to be in a vaporous state. So I'm going to let the video run through all the way. I'm not going to stop it at all. Okay, so you see the arrow on that thing. That's not a gravestone. That's the figure. It doesn't look weird right now, but wait, it gets weird. It's insane. When I saw this, my jaw literally dropped. And you'll see on the part what I'm talking about. So there it is again. Keep in mind this video is really zoomed in. The next clip shows apparition standing up from a squatting position, then it turns and walks away. So it's not just standing there, this fucking thing moves. And you see it get up from a squatting position. Watch it.
Oh shit!
Yes, dude. Look at it. I changed the color up. I changed the color up so you can see it better. Watch it stand up. And you can see its arms, and its arms are like really, really long.
Yeah, this thing's getting linky. Dude, that thing's gotta be like, what, maybe... Oh, dude, like maybe 8 foot.
That thing's really tall. Look how far they are from it, and you can still see it. You can see it walking. You see it walking?
What the hell?
And then it goes behind another headstone, and it comes out from the other side, and it walks. And then it goes behind the tree. It keeps walking. It walks for a really long time. Look at it. Absolutely insane, dude. Insane. The best apparition video I've ever seen. This is kind of hard to see it, but it walks back. You can kind of see it.
Yeah.
And then right there, it kind of just like disappears. It's hard to see. Definitely one of the best apparition videos I've ever seen. Especially when it stands up from that squatting position. Do you agree? Do you agree that's the best apparition video you've ever seen?
Yeah, just because it just had everything I asked for.
Yeah.
You know, like clear figure, you know, a clear intention where it's going.
You can tell that it's not a person.
It's not a person, like
crazy.
Yeah, like there. And what JP says is that how it has no like humanoid figure, but it has a humanoid figure. Like you can see its arms, you can see its body, its torso, and its legs, but besides that, dude, that ain't body, that ain't human.
And it's translucent, like they said. Like it's like and I don't know how this video hasn't gone viral. Because that is absolutely insane.
It is insane. I mean, I think it's funny because it's one of those things that you're absolutely right. I don't know how this hasn't become viral, but it's just because it's too real. It's scary.
Yeah. This team, their name. Let me find their name for you. It's right here. So it was caught by Native Paranormal Seekers. You can go watch the whole video. It's like a 30-minute investigation. This is just something they captured from it. And they go back and they try to set up the cameras and the IR lights exactly how it was to recreate it, and they can't recreate it. I feel completely dumbfounded. I have no explanation for it.
Yeah, usually I'm pretty good at debunking, but damn, dude, that's good.
I don't see how they could fake this video if it was intentional. They tried to debunk it. This the subscriber that sent it to us, he's been following them for a long time, and he trusts them. Dude, that's a ghost. That video right there is the Holy Grail, and it tells you that spirits exist. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I'm still trying to like wrap my head around it because it does look see-through. Like even in pixelation, how zoomed in that it was, you can still see it. It like it's so like solid enough where you can know what it's doing, but it's not solid enough where you're like, no, it's a human.
Yeah,
it's like it's on that perfect borderline.
Right. It's really similar to the Ghost Adventures figure they caught on their documentary. That it crosses in front of the window, and you can see it cross. You can see it like it darkens the light. It looks a lot like that figure, just way bigger.
Oh yeah, no, this thing's massive.
I'm gonna restart it, and I'm gonna stop it after I show all the clips of it standing up, because the part of it standing up is the part that I was like, I started at 30 seconds.
Like right here, you can see it behind that tree.
To the left.
You see where that glowing part is? Right there.
So you see it, it's even squatting it's tall, and then it stands up. Look, what I'm about to say, you're going to flip out, John. I think at 105. It comes out of the grave, bro.
Yeah, dude. What if it was looking at itself in its grave?
Wow. Great capture.
God,
this video deserves so much more than it's getting. So much more. Great capture.
Yeah, I mean... Dang, dude.
If somehow Native, the team that caught it, Native Paranormal Seekers, if you can contact us.
Yes, please. Holy shit.
Tell us what
you
think.
were, yeah, like what you think, what you think, what were you doing at the time before trying to recreate it?
From whenever I was watching the video, all I remember is hearing two people talking behind the camera. So I don't know who was all there. I don't know the exact story, but man, maybe we can try to set up a Skype interview, something. Because
I really want to get in touch with them.
This piece of evidence is insane. I saw the Sir No Face documentary clip that was like that's going around paranormal world, where he catches the best apparition ever seen. This by far tops that video. By far.
I heard it wasn't all that great.
Yeah, by far this video tops it. It was this video I think is the best apparition video I've ever seen. And I believe it 100% to be real. I have no doubt. I usually go in my gut. I have no doubt in my mind and my gut that this video is not real. Native Paranormal Seekers, we'd love to talk to you, even if it's by email, message, anything.
Whatever. I have questions.
And if they're catching shit like this, go check out their channel, because I don't even know what else they've caught. But, oh my god. Keep up the great work. Because this video is not big. We didn't know about it.
Yeah,
but it's the best video we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So send it our way, guys. Until then, stay classy, my friends.
Shout out to Native Paranormal Seekers. That's an awesome capture. If you guys tuned in last week, I played that last week too. It was too good. I had to play it again for Halloween. I've never got anything in any of our evidence that looks like a person or a humanoid shape or anything like that moving. We have captured a few pretty cool photographs of what we think are possible apparitions. I'm going to share a couple of those with you. This one here was up at this was Waverly Hills up in Louisville Sanatorium. I think we were on the 4th floor, and I think Vinny captured this one. He was just taking a lot of pictures down the hallways and whatnot, and it looks like a shadow person just there kind of walking in front of him. There was nobody there, and we didn't really realize it till later after we started reviewing the pictures that we had captured that. So I thought it was pretty cool. This one here, I'm kind of on the fence about this one because we took a lot of pictures. This is Perryville Battlefield over by Perryville, Kentucky, one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. It was a full moon that night. That's That's Gary, our clairaudient there. And we had a few little lights set up out there. I think he walked by and set these two off. These are motion lights. And then this green one, I think, is a lightning bug 'cause it's like moving around. We've got a device in this jug here. It's got a big ball with bells on it inside there. It didn't move or anything. And then we have a REM pod. It detects electromagnetic frequencies and energies. And this is a one that the closer something gets to it, more lights light up. So that's just the basic red light that's on it all the time. You can see the red light kind of reflecting off the cannon wheel and the cannon barrel. And so we got the white light reflecting off of here and here, and then we got the red light reflecting here and here. But we're like, what's this blue thing here? It was like self-illuminating. It's blue. Very bizarre. Popped up in front of that cannon. We still don't know what it is. We don't know if it's just, a lens flare. And most lens flares are kind of green or, we got some city lights stuff in the background. And then this green one here, I've seen lightning bugs do that. It looks like it moves all around. But we thought it was an interesting capture. We don't know if it's an apparition or not, but definitely pretty interesting. We never did figure out what, we're not sure what it was. But anytime we find anything that's not in any of our other photos and it's different, we're going to share it. Now, this next one, this was Pilot Knob Cemetery up by Marion, Kentucky. And there's a little girl there, buried there. And there's all these rumors she was a witch and everything. It's all made up. She died of natural causes. They do have an iron fence around her grave. But all those stories about her are pretty much all made up. Died of natural causes. We're up there checking out the cemetery because it's been reported to be pretty active. So this is 1:30 a.m. out in the full moonlight. And let's see. Here it is. So I hope that you guys can see this back home. If not, let me know. I'll try to magnify it and show it again. But that's me on the right. I had a recorder in my left hand, and the recorder died. And I was like, hey, my recorder died. Like, anytime equipment dies suddenly, something takes the batteries down to zero, like instantly, we try to start taking a lot of pictures because that's generally a sign that something paranormal's around is drawing the energy out of your equipment. And I've had some weird stuff where I put brand new batteries in, immediately went dead, and put them back, new ones in. And I had one time I had to go through 3 sets of batteries before my equipment would work. This one location, but this particular night, my recorder died, and the guy took a picture. This is with an iPhone 12 and low light setting, but that full moon coming in almost looks like daylight because that low light setting on the iPhone is really pretty powerful, very sensitive. So if you look right in front of me, it almost looks like a lady standing there with her hair up or a hat. She's kind of standing there looking at me. So I told him, he said, I think I got something. I said, well, take like 5 more pictures. Make sure it's not a reflection. Something's not reflecting off me, the equipment, whatever. So let's see. The next 5 pictures look just like this. If you look right in front of me, it's gone right there in the moonlight. So you want to take a lot of pictures when you're out on these investigations because you never know that split second something could pop up and you capture it. And then, if you don't take a lot of pictures, try to take them in the same exact spot so you can spot an anomaly. So this is probably one of our best captures, I think, as far as I think it's an apparition. It's there, then it's gone. There, and the next 5 pictures all look like this. I stood in the exact same spot, and so it was pretty compelling. Even the cloud looks a little different right there. You see the cloud, and then the next one, the cloud's kind of behind the trees a little bit, and I didn't move at all because he kept taking pictures. Like he took like 10. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Some of our captures. And here's another one. This is Vinny's favorite capture. And when we first took the picture, it just looked like a little tiny, like a bird or something. And this is in Hell's Gate Cemetery, also known as Casey Cemetery, up in, we call it E-Town here in Kentucky, Elizabethtown. It's on the west side of Elizabethtown. And we think it looks like a nun. And we're like, what's a nun doing out here, in this old country cemetery? But you can almost see like her hat, and then she has like something on her habit, the shape of that looks like a nun to us. And we're like, okay, why would a nun spirit be out here? Well, then we found out right down the road was the Bethlehem Academy. It was run by the Sisters of Loretto for a long time. There were some students stayed there. Their other students got bussed in. And it was right down the road. So it's probably not a stretch that there were nuns living on this same road, within a mile of this cemetery. And then I actually magnified it a little bit more. Here's a little better. And it starts pixelating if I go any further than that. It's just, but we were just snapping a lot of pictures that night. And then this popped up. And so we think this is an apparition of a sister. We think it's one of the Sisters of Loretto. That's probably one of our better captures. Thought I'd share some of our evidence since it is Halloween weekend. Hope you all had a fun Halloween. I do try different things. We've got homemade equipment. We've got, we use cameras. I've got 35 millimeter. We got our cell phone cameras. We got a spirit box. We've got REM pods, K2 meters, cat balls, digital recorders, audio recorders. And we've been trying out a few apps. I like the Necrophonics app, especially if you plug in somebody with headphones and do like an Estes method, where basically the Estes method is you want to have the person that's asking questions of the spirits be far enough away from the person or have sound canceling headphones so they cannot hear anything you're saying. And you want to have the person asking the questions where they can't see their lips, or where basically you don't want them to be able to hear that person at all. And you ask questions, and whatever responses that person gets, they're supposed to speak it out loud what they're hearing in the headphones. And the more sensitive people seem to get better results. We've done the Necrophonics app on our cell phone with pretty decent results. We've actually had some correlations with the Necrophonics app and an Ovilus device. We're getting the same kind of information. Our clairaudient Gary, he got a lady's name one time in a house at the other end of the house, in the kitchen. We went in the back bedroom, and Cindy, another lady on our team, had the app going, doing Estes, and she got the same exact name. I think the name was Angela. And we went down the hallway, and we're down there like 10 minutes later with Cindy, and she got Angela. So we got a correlation there. Another app I've been testing out is called SPI, and it runs off AI. It's got AI built into the software, and it's something new they're trying out. It's supposed to listen for any kind of frequencies or any kind of EVPs, even stuff that we can't hear with our human ears. And it's using AI technology. And I've been having some mixed results with it. Apps, take them with a grain of salt. Some guys don't like them. Other people use Spirit Box with when they do an Estes method. We got an SB, I think it's SB11. It'll do AM and FM radio frequencies, and you can change the speed at which it sweeps through the frequencies. You can go forward and backward. You can do AM and FM at the same time. And we've got some mixed results with that too. But this video is a guy, he's trying out this SPI app. It runs off AI at the Warrens Museum up in Connecticut. And it was really interesting, the response this thing got. I don't know if it looks off the GPS where you're at and comes up with things. Like I said, I take all apps with a grain of salt. Some people think they're completely useless. It's just one other thing we try. we've got an SLS and XLS. And those you got to kind of be careful when you're moving those around. I tend to believe it's picking up something more if it's stationary and it's not moving and you're on a tripod and then something goes moving by. Can't explain what it is. I don't know if it's picking up a spirit or not, but it's pretty interesting. So we try a lot of different things, but this video is the SPI app being tried out at the Warrens.
This is part 2 to more unsettling things that occurred while in front of the real Annabelle doll while going live in the Warren Occult Museum. We were using new AI technology for spirit communication called SPI.
What is the most evil object in the Occult Museum?
I heard someone talk about a banshee too.
A banshee?
Yeah. This is an Irish term.
Psychically?
Yeah.
Psychically?
Yeah.
Annabelle.
Oh.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to leave the Occult Museum. I just asked, what's the most evil object in the Occult Museum? Here's the answer, ladies and gentlemen. Annabelle. You see it?
Wow.
You see that? It says Annabelle.
Yeah.
This is real.
We heard it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is real. This is real because it is the most evil object in the museum.
So we were trying that out. I've used that app up at Gettysburg. We were down. Trying to think the name of the covered bridge. We were down by the covered bridge, and we went past the covered bridge up in the river bottoms there, and we were running that app, and we were like, oh, "Is anybody here?" And it said yes. We're like, "Were you a soldier?" And it said no. And we were like, "Okay, were you a settler? You know, were you a homesteader?" It was like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, were you a native?" And it said yes. And I was like, "Okay." I was thinking Mohicans up that way. I was like, "Do you know them? You know, are you know the Mohicans?" It said yes. And then I was like, "Are you a Mohican?" It said no. And we're like, "What tribe are you?" And it said Susquehanna. And then that's kind of like the last thing we got, and we had to leave. But it was pretty interesting because those Susquehanna, if I'm saying it correctly, are up from that part of the country, up in New York and up in Pennsylvania and whatnot. So that was pretty cool. And then we were using that app up at the Ross Opera House, and it's at the end of Kentucky. If you ever get a chance to go to Ross Opera House, it's not real expensive. If you want somewhere for your team to go, that's a really cool place. A lot of history there. Fairly active. We've been there several times. I've never went there and didn't get some kind of evidence. So last time we were there, me and Jeff thought it was a cat meowing, but the other ladies with us said they thought it was a baby crying. It sounded like a baby. And this theater is really old, and back in the day, if you had a fussy baby, I know you've all been to a movie and a baby starts crying or airplane or whatever. So the mom would take the baby into the lady's restroom, and in the ladies' restroom they had it was almost like a little room, like a little closet, soundproof room. So the mother could go in there with the baby's crying fussy, shut the door. No one outside of that room could hear that baby crying. And there's a speaker in there and a little window. So the mother could sit there and watch the movie with her fussy baby and hear it with the speaker, but nobody else was being disturbed by the baby. They called it the crying room, and they had it in the women's bathroom. So we were thinking, well, maybe that's why we're hearing a baby crying, residual, type haunting, whatever. But that SPI app, we were running that, and it said there was a guy that passed away, and he was like 23, and we were like, well, we're sorry for your loss, and we're sorry you passed away and everything. And then it said, thank you. when it said thank you, Cammy girl got up and went out to the car. She didn't come back. So we've had some mixed results with that app. 2 weekends ago, I was up in Indiana, near French Lick area, up there visiting friends, Jessica and Bruce, and they're actually living in a cabin up there, in a pretty new cabin, really nice. And they're having some weird activity. They've seen some shadows, hearing some things. So we went up to kind of check it out, and we were running that same app, and it told us, we're like, is anybody here? And it said yes. And we're, were you like, you're a settler, or we're thinking it's some old residual. And it said, Indian. And we're like, okay, what tribe? And we first got Cherokee, and then we got Shawnee. And it said it didn't like them being there. And we're like, well, what can we do to appease you? What can we do to smooth this out? Because they're not going anywhere anytime soon. What can we do to make peace? And it said leave. I've never had an app tell me to leave before. Basically told them to leave, and a little bit later, we're like, okay, can we work this out? What can we do? And it said nothing. And then we're like, okay, well, we got to try to make peace here. What can we do? And then again, it said leave. So I don't think they're going to leave anytime soon. So I was hoping to get with some different native paranormal groups, maybe a shaman or a medicine man could maybe help us out on how to deal with this situation. If anybody's ever dealt with anything, an encounter like that where something doesn't like them being there, because it was their land, a long time ago, and nowadays we're on their land. It used to be their land, and they're not happy. And so if anybody knows how to try to make peace, let us know. Give us a call. Get a hold of us, and because we could use some more insight on this one. But that's all I have for this week. I appreciate everybody tuning in to this Supernatural Sundays, a Halloween weekend. Hope y'all had a good Halloween weekend, and hope y'all have a good week going ahead, going into November. And appreciate y'all tuning in, and y'all have a good one. Come on.